Why did Joe Biden not release these files, and why did none of you come out and call for the release of these files when Joe Biden was president? Jasmine, and I'll call you by your first name because we are friends, and I feel comfortable, and you call me Lance. So Jasmine,
we are not
go
friends.
For it. Oh, we are.
Do not ruin my street cred.
Jasmine Crockett didn't let the moment slide. When Rep. Lance Gooden tried to paper over this as friendly banter, "We are friends," he said, Crockett snapped it back into focus. They are not friends in the face of a very serious, very raw set of questions about victims, transparency, and who benefits from spectacle.
But my colleague from Georgia, you sat back for 4 years when Joe Biden was president. I'm curious, and I really do mean this, because the ranking member, you read the letter that you were raising hell back when you were in your position. Will someone, and I will yield to you, will someone answer for me why Joe, let me ask the question first. And I'm going to take my time back if you don't answer the question, because I want the question answered.
I will happily answer.
Why did Joe Biden not release these files, and why did none of you come out and call for the release of these files when Joe Biden was president? Why did you wait until it became a political issue if your motivations are so pure? Mr. Goldman, yes, I'll yield to you.
So, first of all, the reason why this has become such a big issue.
No, that wasn't the question. The question was, why did you all not push the Biden admin to release the files?
Right.
Why did not one of you say Joe Biden's Justice Department should release these files, and if he doesn't, damn it, I'm going to get a discharge petition?
So
why didn't anyone do that?
I'm trying to answer. That we were not aware, I think it's safe to say, that Donald Trump was in the Epstein files.
No, I'm not talking about Donald Trump. Everyone in this room knew about Epstein. It was a huge national story. I'm asking you, why did Joe Biden not release the Epstein files? It's irrelevant who may or may not have been in them. Why didn't you care about these victims? Irrespective of the fact that your political opponent could or could not be attached to these files, why weren't you guys calling out the Joe Biden administration to release the files? Please, someone answer.
I'm trying to answer.
Well, you didn't. I'll let Ms. Crockett try.
You got to let
Jasmine, Jasmine, and I'll call you by your first name because we're friends, and I feel comfortable, and you call me Lance. So, Jasmine,
we are not
go
friends.
For it. Oh, we are.
Do not ruin my street cred. No, here's the thing. I will tell you that at the end of the day, for me, as a lawyer, when you have that Maxwell went through her trial in 2021, I believe that's when she was convicted. That is when Joe Biden was in power. After that, she ended up on appeal, which she is currently on appeal now. So as it relates to whether or not that Department of Justice had even concluded their investigation, I can't say that they had, number one. Number two, by releasing the files prior to her going through her appellate process, that may have ended up being an issue that administration was concerned about. That's number one. Number two.
She's in appeal now. So
okay,
using that line, you're going to pull that back?
I'm about to get to it because I saw y'all.
No one.
No,
I'm going to reclaim my time. Since you said we weren't friends, I'm going to reclaim my time.
The time belongs to the gentleman.
I got a real hard time with the Democrats saying that this is a noble cause when y'all weren't calling on Joe Biden's Justice Department to release the files. You're all a bunch of hypocrites to say this is a noble cause because none of you did anything about it. Okay. I yield back to the chairman.
I need time now, Mr. Chair. I need time now since he wanted to be selfish.
I appreciate
I move to strike the last.
Why does that tiny exchange matter? Because it exposes the posture behind the larger fight, some members treating the push to release Jeffrey Epstein-related materials as a partisan cudgel, not an accountability project. Gooden's point that Democrats didn't pressure the Biden DOJ to release files earlier is a political charge. Crockett's riposte, asking why Republicans only march this out when it's convenient, is a question about consistency and motive. That timing matters. When a file becomes a political weapon rather than a public interest disclosure, survivors and the rule of law often get trampled. Let's clear up two legal realities before anybody yells cover up. First, not everything investigators gather can be dumped into the public square. Grand jury material and certain sealed records are governed by strict rules. Decades of case law are built around the idea that grand jury testimony is secret unless a court orders otherwise. Courts have repeatedly pushed back on blanket unsealing because of those rules and, crucially, because of the risk to victims and witnesses. Those denials don't automatically mean someone is hiding a client list. They mean the legal standards for unsealing are high for a reason. Second, the Justice Department has already said there isn't a tidy client list waiting to be unsealed and splashed across the front page. That doesn't mean there aren't powerful names in the files, but it does mean that expectations of a single, sensational reveal are more fantasy than fact. And whether or not such a list exists is beside the point Crockett made. The question is about process and priorities. Who is centering survivors and due process, and who is centering headlines? We also need to be precise about the Maxwell angle because it came up in the hearing. Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted in 2021 and has since pursued appeals. The legal posture of her case, including appellate filings and the status of sealed materials, complicates the picture of what can legally be released without prejudicing ongoing proceedings. That's part of why some administrations have been cautious about a unilateral release. So how should we, as citizens, evaluate Crockett's fire? First, she's forcing a necessary accountability question. Do you want transparency or do you want theater? There's a critical difference. Releasing materials in a way that exposes victims or that dumps unverified allegations into social media-hungry feeds is not transparency, it's cruelty disguised as truth-telling. That's why respected legal analysts have argued against a wholesale public dump of investigative files without redaction and vetting, because it risks re-traumatizing victims and damaging innocent people swept up in records. Real transparency means careful, lawful disclosure that balances the public's right to know with privacy and the integrity of ongoing legal processes. But Crockett is also making a political point with moral force. If your interest in releasing the files is new and aligns with a moment that helps your political brand, don't expect applause. Demand consistency. If you truly care about victims and the rule of law, push for the careful, lawful release of materials where courts and counsel agree it won't harm victims. Fund independent review, support protective redactions, and pursue real reforms that prevent abuse, not just headlines that feed a base. There is a path forward that honors both Crockett's demands and the legal constraints. Congress can push for release of non-grand jury investigatory materials that aren't sealed, pass legislation to expedite safe disclosure when appropriate, and fund independent counsel to review files and separate legitimate public interest disclosures from material that would jeopardize prosecutions or privacy. Democrats have introduced and supported motions and resolutions aimed at getting meaningful disclosures that protect victims. Those efforts matter because they show a commitment to both transparency and care.